What's up, peeps? Joshua here, and today the old DB26er is getting new shifter cable housing in red. You can't do that with wireless. So, scope it out. First thing you want to do is make sure you're shifted all the way down into the mo faster gear or the smaller cog on the rear. And then you're good there. And I've already done that, so take care of. If you come back here, you're going to disconnect lay cable. Boom. Pull it out of the rear mechage. Slide all of the old nonsensical nonsense off of there. Bloop, 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 bloop. That's some old housing. Yeah, I'm going to do my own length measurements, so I don't need this old stuff here. Let's see, will that actually slide out of the zip tie? Sure enough. So boom, just like that, the long housing is removed. Now, you gotta do the little pokey and get it spun in the correct direction. And just like that, it's gonna come through there. Boop. So, there you go. That's really how fast you can do that. It's not terrible. Unless, of course, you're dealing with the nonsense of going through the frame, then yeah, that's probably not all the exciting. The Roscoe, it was horrible, actually. Didn't care for that a bit, quite frankly. I'd just rather zip tie the cable housing to the frame somewhere on some cable tie down points and be done with it. It's just so much faster. Now sure, they have gotten much better today. They've got little covers and doohickeys down here, and you can bloop bloop work through it much more simply. But alas, I'm still old school. And besides, I like the red housing, peeps. It looks good. And what is super spectacular about this is I have two. You know, here's looking at you. And I'm also going to do the other Diamondback with some red housing to add a little highlight. Now, you have your cables. That's what you have. And you're probably hearing some wind out there. And you're probably even hearing the wind chimes at moments, which is pretty cool because that's DIY wind chime action out there out of some old computer bits and bobs. I'll show you all that sometime down the road one day. But for now, you untwisty all the cable. And then you get to setting it over here for just a moment. Alright. Oh man, that's not cute. So, there you go. I give this product, this is some Chinese job rating. It's that's what it is. Wait, is that actually all? Whoa, what is going on here? Huh. I just realized this is recording everything backwards, peeps. So hopefully I can adjust that later. But yeah, that's nonsensical because look at that. That's quite terrible. Come on, camera. There you go. Can you see that, peeps? Big old janky crease in that thing. Might make the shifting wonky, actually. Because obviously it's going to be, you know, mounted in there, in the shifter, right? And this portion, not being straight, can drag on the inside of the shifter mechanism. It's kind of stinky. So the other one, however, okay, since this bike needs the shifter cable more impotently, we'll use the other one. because it appears to be in good shape with no janky creases in it. So, all right. Anywho, yeah, you don't want creased cables, but it is what it is. You know, it is what it is. It will be what it will be, because it won't be what it won't be, because it ain't what it ain't. All right. Now, you get your little snippy poos. Do a little snippy doo-dah-day. Snip. Snip. And bada bing, bada boom. Now, the real questiones, I've kind of debated this, peeps, is just to run entire cable housing down instead of having the break in the open area right back here on what would normally be the seat stay, but this is a full squisher 26er. So, fascinating. What shall I do? I shall drop the cable on the ground, peeps. Let me go ahead and move that up out the way for a moment and figure this part of the buffoonery out, because this is all custom. There's no textbook for what I do. They don't make a textbook for me. I have to figure stuff out on my own by the grace of the Lord. It's beautiful, actually. Look at that. Y'all see that red popping in there? That's going to be brilliant, you know. I like that highlight. Looks good. Plenty of flexage. Woo! Get the flexage all the way around. Flexage. Alright, so actually, it's probably pretty good length. I could draw it back just a hair. Just a hair. Alright. Because then that could be all combobbled together right there. Alright. Now, here's the ultimate challenge. Boop. Do I want to bring it down through here, which actually, no joke, that's kind of smooth looking there. And, oh, hey. You know, I really think this might not be so bad after all. What would be pretty swift, and y'all just can't see this because I can't turn the bike far enough around. So I'm having to trace the cable housing around the frame where it normally does not go, because I think, not entirely sure, I haven't looked at a picture in a while, they may have, Diamondback may have originally routed it so that the shift cable housing actually stayed on this side of the frame and then came back for a straight shot to here. But that puts a horrible, well, alright, this bike also now has JG 780 wide bars on it. So JG bike, these are 780 bars and they are wider, but I don't like the proximity of where the shifter ends and this portion of the frame here, and it just puts too harsh of a bend on it, I feel. And so now I'm tracing it around the frame and ensuring it's going to be out of the way of the pedals, the crank arm, and all that. And actually I do kind of find this is pretty sweet, because I can put a zip tie here right at the midpoint of the frame. Let's see. So I could do a zip tie here, right? And then zip tie it back here. Boom. And then drop it, you know. You gotta have some room for it to move, so it's not gonna be perfectly straight. It'll have a little hump in it like that. yeah, I think that's going to be the business. And that way, just also by not having this break in the cable housing, much less likely to get grime and cause any kind of funky shifting issues, causing degradation of the cable much faster. You know, all of the nonsense. All right, so next, what is the business? Zip tie, I reckon. Because, no, not quite yet. Well, I could, but not yet. All right, this is what I'm going to do. Swing the old bicycle back out here. I do like that. I do dig the red. That is pretty swift. Yeah, that's going to be the business. This will be the business here, and then a little bit of business back here. Let's see how much. I don't want to go too crazy. I think I could do that. Ooh, where are the cutters, peeps? Oh man, left them in the other room. So I'm going to pause for station identification. And I'll get back to y'all shortly. Thanks for tagging along. This has been a fun little project. Alright peeps, back to the mission at hand. And I did a little investigating online. It does appear that Diamondback chose to run the housing around and then cut through the frame, which actually works out rather swimmingly right through here. Gives it a nice little flow down to the rear triangle here, and I have already zip tied it here and here. All right, so next part of la mission is to get the housing length finalized, and what I'm going to do is just give it a nice little bend as such. Not trying to get all serial about it, but basically just want to make sure that this has enough room to turn and lower as it goes to the larger cog on the cassette. So I reckon about like that's probably going to suffice. If it doesn't, well, shenanigans. All right, looks about proper. Yep, and so you're always going to have to make sure that this is opened up nicely. Do a little bit of that. Something I like to use right here is a screw. This is a deck screw, peeps. This is what I am using. And I'm going to poke it right in the end of that housing there. And then that should be the business. All right, let's find out. So I have the little housing cap here, and it goes on the end of this, as such. And then that all goes in there, and voila, done. All right, so that's that end of it. Let me straighten the bicycle A back out, and I shall do up the cable. All right, now just got to look down the shifter, find daylight, and aim. And once you find the daylight, it's typically not that bad. So finding the little spot it slides into, peeps, can be so exciting. Might have to, there it is. So in this particular case, I just actually did a little slight nudge on the shifter lever, and then it went through there just fine and dandy. That's just probably from the age of it being worn out of hair. And what did I do with the nonsensicalies? So have the little package to get the little housing cap that goes on the end. And in this case, I'm just going to go ahead and slide that on first. Doesn't really matter. Do it like that. And boom, boop. Slide the cable in through the housing. And wait for it to come out the other end. Now sometimes it might not pop through the other end with the cap on, but we shall find out. Oh, don't be goofy like me, peeps. Don't be goofy. See? Goofy. You know what I did? Wee 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 wee. Okay. Then you slide it back out, and you do it more appropriately this time, and you don't put it over the front brake so that they twist together, because that would be plumb silliness, people. Plumb silliness. All right. Shenanigans, I tell you. Yep, that looks much better. Much better. And it made it out down there, so you can continue to pull. Feed it in there. Bam! Just like that. That is the business. Pop it in through there. That is the business. Then you bring it over yonder here, and you slide it under the little mechanism clampy doohickey, and you tighten it down with a little bit of snugness while you're giving a little bit of pulley snugness to the cable. And then you give it a good old boop boop. Yep, give it a little boop boop. Then you go pedal, pedal, pedal. That is totally clanking on that, isn't it? Sorry. The bike stand had a little malfunction there. It wants to do its own thing, peeps. Doing its own thing. Okay, back to it. Woo! Why did the chain come off up front, peeps? So, I just learned me something. The offset here is not liking it here at the cassette. This angulation is not angulating very well, peeps. So there is that. But otherwise, it's actually shifting phenomenally. Just didn't like going up into 1, 2, and 3. It seems. Oop-a-doop. Oopie-doopie-doop. It seems 4 is no bueno. Let's find out. Yeah, no, not liking the 4. Is this one of the moments where I just go, alright, single speed. Sounds fine to me. No problem with that, peeps. It could be a combination of this chain too, which is just an old used chain. So who knows if it's actually going to do the business. Alright. It's a downhill bike, 4 gears, all top speed gears, there you go. But anyway, that's how you change a shifter cable if you didn't know. Alright, Thanks for tagging along with me. And yes, that is Evan peeking around the corner. So, we're out of here. Catch y'all later. Go love thy neighbors. Shalom.